Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here, and it is 8:30 a.m. EST. Now, today is the FOMC minutes day. The last couple of times the FOMC shared their meeting minutes, which is usually a pretty big event, but the last couple of times, not a lot happened. Now, the difference here is, as I have explained in prior shows, the difference is that last week's economic data did leave a lot of people confused as to whether or not we are actually going to see a rate cut. And the rate cut odds going up is the reason why the NASDAQ and the Bitcoin and a lot of things, the Bitcoin, and a lot of things headed up back a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So right here, this was the 12th of August. The CPI came out. It came out just a little bit cool. It was flat month over month, and it was a little cool year over year. And you had a large move up. You had all-time highs in the NASDAQ. Bitcoin shot up. Everything went up. And then the PPI came out. And the PPI came out extremely hot. It was unexpected. We talked about this the last couple of shows. Not going to dive too deep. Just understand that everybody thought there was going to be a rate cut, and then those hopes were kind of, I don't want to say they were dashed, but some people think they were dashed, right? So we do have a little bit of news coming out here shortly. Very quiet right now for the NASDAQ. Big dump down, relatively big, yesterday from about 23,750-ish all the way down to 23,300. That is significant for the NASDAQ. Last big move like that was in at the end of July, and it did recover pretty swiftly, as the NASDAQ is known to do. Algorithmically, what we're seeing is that if there is to be a recovery, it probably will head down a little bit deeper. If I were just simply to take a look at the price action on this, there's a likelihood price may head down as low as 23,000. Just above that, maybe 23,040, and then recover. It might not even make it that low. It just depends on what happens, and we are at a quiet time of the year, but that's the most likely scenario I'm seeing at this time, is a move down, and then it may bounce there, but how it bounces is not as really quite as predictable right now. We might see a move down to this area, if it even makes it that far, a bounce up, but how high will it go? Will it go all the way to break the highs again, or will it simply start to move sideways? And we'll get a sideways move until the markets wake back up, maybe in September. We shall see, right? We're just going to have to see how that goes. And what I drew may take way less time than the way I drew it. It might only be, a few weeks rather than, or even a week or two, rather than all the weeks that I posted on there. Quick look at the euro, the EUR/USD. We are seeing a little bit of action on the lower time frames. I did call out a nice trade last night. I called out yesterday a double move, right? I called out that price might make this move and head up and then head down after that. Obviously, this second one is not playing out, and it's okay. I didn't enter this second trade, so it's kind of irrelevant. And usually I don't call or worry about calling out a move this far in advance, right? I just let the first move happen, worry about the rest later. I did put this as a potential move. It didn't quite make it down to where I thought it would. So the bullishness is left on the euro, which usually translates over to a little bit of bullishness in the NASDAQ, but the stock market hasn't opened yet, so that might be delayed by another hour or so. We're just going to have to see how that works out. But this was a nice look overnight. And I gave this to the Algo Factory members, right? And I gave it to them well before the move played. While price was still heading down, I said this is probably what's going to happen, and sure enough, that's what had happened. And it actually went up quite a bit more than that, probably based on news this morning. Let's see what we got. Give me just a moment here. So Thursday, or today's Thursday. Today's Wednesday. Wednesday the 20th. Nothing specific that would have caused that move. It just looks like money flowed into the market, and it did look like it was going to pop up algorithmically. So that does make sense that it would continue in this direction, and it probably will. What it looks like in a higher time frame is that the euro is shaping up to just probably range up in this area. And if you've been watching this channel, you would know that the euro has been just plowing upwards all year long, right? And there's a couple of ways to look at this from a currency standpoint, but the reality is that the euro has just been bullish. And whether or not this is due to some type of manipulation or natural causes, I'm going to lean towards manipulation. And it has a lot to do with just what's been going on geopolitically, what's been going on with the debt markets and things like that. We're not going to get too deep into that just because that's all theory anyway. And the only thing we really can rely on is the charts. And as the charts stand, what looks like it's going to happen on a daily, right, on the daily chart, is it looks like the euro is going to grind sideways and possibly up, but it can't do that forever. Now, we don't know how long this is going to last, but I would expect right now just a sideways up grind, provided that the algos don't really change a whole lot, right? We may still get that move down that I was thinking we would get, but at this point, I think we've seen it. We got this move down, and it just was kind of a truncated move down. So the euro still has that strength to it to where it does not want to dip too far. So for the moment, I expect a sideways grind on the euro. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin before we move over to the private live lab. Bitcoin is continuing to fall, which probably is going to give us some higher prices on the altcoins. The Ethereum in particular has been doing pretty well, which usually means that other altcoins are going to start to follow. Chainlink, just looking at the numbers on the right here, looking pretty good. So let me just take a brief look at Bitcoin to see how that looks. Bitcoin is almost always bullish on the very high time frames. It still has a fair amount of bullishness left on the monthly, right? It does what it's doing right now is not unexpected on the monthly. And as I said yesterday, for the cycle, we're looking at the weekly chart, right? We're going way back to 2016 on here, 2018. And on this cycle, on this 4-year cycle, right? So 2025 in this chart starts right here. Now it's Bitcoin. So remember that really anything can happen, but I have a sweet spot for my top as far as how high I think it's going to go. That sweet spot's 145,000. 160,000 is the top of my kind of expected range, and 120 was the bottom of my expected range. And I expect to see that right around the end of the year, if not before. So we've already touched that range, right? So if I were just to kind of say, hey, it's probably going to happen in this square, and it may have already happened. So technically I could put this all the way back here. So I think we're now in the period of time where we may be seeing the end of this 4-year cycle in Bitcoin. And we might see a bit of sideways action. Technically, it could be over. It's possible that we just see price go down, or let me zoom in a little bit here. We could see price sort of attempt to grab this top right here and then head down. That's possible. I don't think that's what's going to happen. Just knowing Bitcoin, where we are in the cycle, what we may see is Bitcoin range a bit, and it may not need to go any deeper. It may just simply range and then break upwards. And the next stop off point is, as far as my estimates go, is going to be around 140,000. Now, it might take some time to do that, which would be great for people trading altcoins. They're going to do really well for that. We might see a move like this. Maybe November, maybe December. It might take a little longer. We might even see a move down. All those things can happen, but more or less, whether we see a dip down or not, I do expect to see Bitcoin come near making its high around that time. Via the Gorilla, how are you, sir?
I'm doing quite well, quite swimmingly, actually. Just reading the latest news about the new Federal Reserve Board governor.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Lisa Cook is her name.
Now, is she going to be a possible pick for when we lose, Powell?
Not likely. I think she's looking very quite similar within the sphere of someone who probably got her position because she fits a certain quota
A
if you know what I
quota.
mean.
Oh, I see. We're still. I thought
Yes.
all of the quotas were a bit of a thing of the past.
No. Our liberal friends still believe in quotas of some sort, you know.
Would have thought we depowered it. I thought the liberals were a bit of a passe, you know. I thought that was the old thing.
No, they're more active than ever. I think with the Trump being in office, they are more enthused.
I see. They're holding on to a bit of power they have
They
left.
are. They're making a mockery of things as usual.
No,
Much.
that's putting it very likely. Isn't that the understatement of the century, isn't it?
No, quite swimmingly, chap.
Okay.
So what goes it with you? What are you discussing? Bitcoin?
Well, we're talking about the near future of Bitcoin, the near
The
future, so
future.
maybe the next month, 2 or 3, and perhaps we might be looking at a cycle top. I think I've got a sweet spot between about 120,000, which we've already seen, haven't we? And then we've got perhaps a
Right.
top nearly around 160,000. This is my sweet spot range. In the middle of it would be about 145,000, not exactly the middle of the range per se, but I would
Right.
say, you know, the sweet spot itself, which is the thickest, would be about 145, drawing in quite to that. Now, Bitcoin is a bit unpredictable, and of course, it could go much
Just
higher.
a tad
or not.
bit.
Just a tad, yes. It's very
Not
temperamental.
not unpredictable to us, but
Oh no,
everyone
no.
else.
Well, there's predictability, and then there's predictability, isn't there, my chap?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're pretty good at predicting it. You know, I did predict quite a few things in the past few years, and we're doing it publicly. You know, everybody's seen it, and the receipts, as they say, in the parlance of our times, the receipts are online. Well, where can they find us, V? Can you just tell us where we can be found before we move on?
We're still in the live. We're public.
We are. No, yes, we're still live.
Yes, you can find us over at algofactory.tech. We're the only place in the world. Not only do you learn to trade like a hedge fund pro, but you are also learning the algorithms that can trade on your behalf 24 hours a day, even on holiday, 7 days a week. And on top of that, the only place where you'll get the geostrategic, geopolitical, geoeconomic value and intel that dictate where the markets will be going in the future. So you are always ahead of the curve. You will learn to profit from chaos. You will learn to build your book of business. And that business is stocks, bonds, options, forex, crypto, whatever the hell it is you want to trade. Business is good.
Oh, good show, old boy. Good show. I'd also say go into the description. There's a link in there. I'm giving away a free algo. You get to see how I build it. And if you already know what you're doing, you might even be able to optimize that algo and, you know, have your way with it, as it were. Yes. In the meantime, do not ever forget as we leave here.
Join us or die.
It's only a joke, old boy. Calm down. We're only joking. We'll see you soon, though.